Ainsley's situation at TCU is shaping up to be far more complicated than just a bad roommate match, and the tension surrounding her college life says a lot about where her future might actually be heading. On the surface, her problems seem small: personality clashes, lack of privacy, different habits, the kind of issues almost every college freshman runs into at some point. But in Landman, nothing stays small for long, especially when it comes to the Norris family. Ainsley's roommate problem isn't just about dorm drama. It's a reflection of how unprepared she is for the reality of independence and how uncertain her path forward really is. What makes Ainsley's roommate situation stand out is how quickly it escalates from annoyance to identity crisis. She didn't just move into a shared space. She walked into an environment that challenges her expectations of comfort, control, and attention. Ainsley is used to being the center of emotional gravity at home, whether she admits it or not. At TCU, she's just another student, and her roommate doesn't revolve around her needs. That sudden loss of control is jarring for her, and instead of adapting, she resists. The roommate conflict highlights a deeper issue. Ainsley went to college expecting a continuation of her old life, not a transformation. She assumed freedom would feel like fun, validation, and independence on her terms. Instead, it feels like compromise, discomfort, and being told no. Her roommate becomes the symbol of everything she didn't anticipate: noise, boundaries, shared responsibility, and the realization that other people don't automatically adjust to her emotions. There's also an emotional immaturity at play that Ainsley hasn't outgrown yet. Rather than trying to communicate or adapt, she internalizes the conflict as rejection. Her roommate isn't just difficult in her mind. She becomes proof that Ainsley doesn't belong there. That kind of thinking is dangerous because it shifts the problem from solvable conflict to existential doubt. Suddenly, it's not "we don't get along," it's "maybe I shouldn't be here at all." This is where her future at TCU becomes uncertain. College requires resilience more than intelligence. It demands the ability to sit in discomfort without immediately escaping it. Ainsley hasn't learned that skill yet. Her instinct is to retreat, complain, or look for someone else to fix the problem, usually Tommy or Angela. But college doesn't work that way, and TCU won't bend itself around her expectations. What complicates things further is the timing. Ainsley is at a point in her life where her family is already stretched thin. Tommy is overwhelmed, M-Tex is unstable, and Angela is chaotic in her own way. Ainsley, sensing that instability, makes her cling even harder to the idea that college should feel safe and affirming. When it doesn't, she panics. The roommate conflict becomes an emotional pressure valve, releasing all her unspoken fears about being on her own. There's also the question of whether Ainsley actually wanted TCU for the right reasons. Was it about education, growth, and independence? Or was it about escape and image? Her reaction to the roommate situation suggests the latter. She wanted the idea of college more than the reality of it. When the reality pushes back, she doesn't yet know how to respond. This puts her future at TCU in real jeopardy. Not because she can't succeed academically, but because she might choose to leave before she gives herself the chance to grow. Landman has repeatedly shown how characters self-sabotage when confronted with discomfort, and Ainsley is dangerously close to doing the same. If she frames her roommate problem as an unsolvable injustice rather than a learning experience, walking away becomes the easiest option. At the same time, the show doesn't portray Ainsley as hopeless. There are moments where her vulnerability feels genuine. She's scared. She's lonely. She doesn't know who she's supposed to be without her family's constant presence. Those feelings are normal. What matters is how she handles them next. If Ainsley can confront her roommate directly, seek mediation, or even just accept that not every relationship needs to be perfect, TCU could still become a turning point rather than a failure. Her future may also depend on whether her parents let her struggle. Tommy, especially, has a habit of trying to fix things before they fully break. If he intervenes too quickly, by offering to pull her out, find alternative housing, or bring her home, Ainsley may never learn how to stand on her own. The irony is that helping her too much could do more damage than letting her sit with the discomfort. There's also a thematic contrast at play. while Cooper and others are dealing with adult consequences, debt, danger, responsibility. Ainsley's conflict feels small by comparison. But that contrast is intentional. It shows how every stage of life comes with its own battles, and how unprepared Ainsley is for the adult world she's stepping into. Her roommate problem is the training ground. If she can't handle this, bigger challenges will crush her later. Looking ahead, Ainsley's future at TCU could go one of two ways. She either learns to adapt, compromise, and grow, turning this roommate conflict into her first real step toward adulthood, or she retreats back into the safety of her family, reinforcing the idea that discomfort equals failure. Landman rarely gives characters easy wins, but it does reward growth when it's earned. Ultimately, Ainsley's roommate isn't the real problem. The real problem is that Ainsley hasn't yet figured out who she is without the safety net of home. TCU represents opportunity, but opportunity only matters if you're willing to endure the parts that don't feel good. Whether Ainsley stays or leaves won't be decided by dorm assignments or roommate personalities. It will be decided by whether she chooses growth over comfort. And right now, that choice is very much up in the air.